you guys doing? Woo! Thank you for coming here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sitting here with our talk.
So many people. Oh my gosh. Okay.
This is crazy. Thank you for coming here. Sincerely, really appreciate it. There's nothing that I enjoy more than getting people together in one place that are passionate about something. I think everybody here is passionate about Solana.
Indeed.
And there's nobody better that I could think of than Alevtina to talk about community building, community relations. So thank you for being here.
Yeah,
Maybe you
absolutely.
could just
My pleasure.
Could you just walk us through, like, what is your journey? Who are you? What's the myth, the legend? Tell us more about yourself.
Okay. Are we standing?
Let's sit down.
Okay.
Let's sit down.
Good. Well, first of all, I'm very excited to see all of you here because that is the first conference of that scale that is organized not by Solana Foundation. So now we're going to be talking a lot about the community building, but this is a great example of what a community can actually achieve, where such a massive event that is literally the size of our first Breakpoint, which is our yearly conference, in case you don't know, and this is organized completely individually and autonomously by the STEP team. So very big applause for the STEP team as well.
Thank you. Thank you. And just in terms of your Solana journey, your community journey, we were just talking about it over there. I've known Alevtina for a while now. She's been in Solana for, oh my God, probably over 5 years at this point. So walk us through that journey.
It's been 4.5 years for me at the Solana Foundation at this point, but my Solana community journey has started a little bit earlier, which is actually pretty random. It was about 7 or 8 months before I joined Solana Foundation, and I was just in a Telegram group for the Berlin Blockchain Week, and someone asked if they could get help on helping setting up some local marketing and activating the Germany. And I'm not from Germany, but I do speak German. I've been there so many times, so I offered some help and then asked what project is for. And that was the only marketing person back at that time from Solana. And I just Googled what the project was about and started reading about it, because in order to help, I had to understand what it is about. So I got very excited through reading, and then we got connected a couple of times more. They asked me a bunch of marketing support, which I was more than happy to provide. And I guess they just liked what I was telling them, because 7 months later, in January 2020, they offered me a full-time job. Since then, I've been with Solana Foundation.
That's wild. So I think the takeaway here for everybody out there listening, if you don't take anything else away from this talk, it's that if you go to events like this and you network and you talk with people, you never know what's going to happen. This could be the next person you start a company with. They're sitting right next to you right now. This could be the place where you meet the next company that you're going to work with for the next 5 years and build something like Jupiter maybe that could change the entire world. So that's my takeaway from this. And you've been with the foundation 4.5 years now after.
That's correct. Right.
That's amazing. So, okay, walk me through, what is community building? What does that mean?
It is very different for different companies, and for Solana Foundation, it definitely changed out throughout the years. So at this point, how we see the community is, let's talk about first what community is, because we use that term quite a bit in our conversations, and it always refers to something different depending on a context. So for Solana Foundation necessarily, the community is anyone who has interacted with some of the social media or some of the events, or it doesn't matter, any channel that was designed for the community within Solana Foundation. So the second you follow us on Twitter, congratulations, you joined Solana community on a general level. But then we, of course, can go down the funnel and be a little bit more granular. So let's say there are activations in the markets, like in Turkey, there is a Superteam, or in so many other regions in Ukraine, there is a Kumeka team, or there are just regional channels that are allowing you to read about the information in your local language. So the second you find those channels and subscribes, congrats, you sort of like passed the test twice, and now you are much more deeper into the regional growth. But then you participated at the Solana Crossroads or at Solana Hacker Houses. Now you are in that little group that has Austin Hacker House, let's say. A lot of people actually from the Hacker Houses continue chatting within that group and building together and exchanging ideas. So you are now much more in closer and intimate community, even though it's still public. But then we go down even lower to the funnel, and those are closed communities, gated community, if you want to put it like that. Like Superteam, like Collective, that are closed communities that are based on contribution and stronger contribution to the ecosystem, and you can go as granular as you want down. And you can see that throughout these levels, you sort of increase your contribution to the ecosystem. So it takes a little effort to follow us on Twitter, but it takes a lot of effort to travel somewhere, to provide your knowledge, to share it with the community. So it's sort of proof of work-based structure. Cool. But that is for Solana Foundation. It might be different for the local teams. And it has also changed throughout the years. We went from the model of managing the community, where we had community managers. This is actually very fresh information, but we had community managers that had Solana official accounts that were helping people to get to know about Solana at the beginning. That is not the case anymore because of how many wonderful regional communities we have that offer much better services, much better skills and interactions for the local communities. So we try to empower those and not manage them, and that has actually been working really well.
Cool. So what it sounds like is there's many layers to what it means to be
Correct.
a community member. You could just follow on social, or you could be a part of Solana All-Stars, Superteam, Dean's List, whatever it is. There's many layers. Do you have any idea how large the Solana community is? I know I'm putting you on the spot now, but do you have any idea?
Well, if you do count it, as I just said, from the general perspective, it's millions.
Okay.
Over 10 million for sure.
That's incredible. So 10 million a day, and in the future, trying to reach 1 billion. So you got to start somewhere, and I think that's huge. So I wanted to ask about the value, community values. So what do you see as the core community values for Solana?
I think it's not as easy to win a new Solana member into the community. They're a little bit more picky. They're a little bit more like evaluating you for the better purpose. So It takes a little bit longer to win a person over in order to join the Solana community. Sometimes because the tech is a little bit more complex. Sometimes because they never heard about it, sometimes because they don't have a content in their own language, so it takes a little bit more time for them to absorb everything that needs to be to win over their heart. But then the second you won over their heart, I think the Solana community is very loyal, is very supportive to each other as well, which is one of the values that we keep at Solana Foundation. There is never a conversation whose fault it is. It's always a conversation on how to find a solution. And I can see definitely that's being streamlined to the community itself. And I cannot be more than happy to see them support each other. Actually, in a Hacker House in Miami, I was telling the story that inspired me the most. Someone asked me if what was the most like this tickling moment in your career? And back then it was the moment when, after managing the community so many times and telling, hey, we don't like this, we prefer this type of communication, we really want to see you thrive, we really want to see you support, when the moment when you see in the first fresh setup group that people start to exchange each other's the skills and the, answering questions to each other, this is the most heartwarming moment for me. And it's funny because what's happening right now is actually the same thing, but on steroids, on a larger scale.
That's amazing. And in terms of this tight-knit community that solves problems and works together, what would you say some of the largest challenges the community has faced, and how have they overcome them? Like, you've been through many storms, I'm sure, but we've weathered all of them, so talk through that.
Well, we try to stay very positive about the future, about the instruments, and there are a lot of stuff the foundation cannot talk about, but stuff we can talk about, and that's why I see our community being constantly challenged by misunderstanding of something, and this is my favorite part, to see where everybody's just coming together to fight against the misinformation about blockchain, about teams that build on that, and this is fantastic. It always gives me goosebumps. That's probably my favorite part of the crypto Twitter, but I think that is also the hardest challenge for them because they do care so much. That's another value that I think is noticeable, that Solana community cares really deeply about the growth overall, not only being egocentric, but also supporting everybody else. So when there is a misinformation spreading out, I see them taking it very seriously.
Yeah, and it's not, ooh, there's a problem, let's talk about the problem.
Yeah,
exactly. It's, oh, there's a problem, how do we solve this? How do we help?
Exactly, yeah. There's always facts involved and solutions and instruments that I actually can check and try instead of just sharing and linking to informational sources, for sure.
Very cool. So, okay, in terms of self-sufficiency, we've talked a lot about this off camera, but I'd love for the audience to hear a little bit more about the Foundation's vision for decentralization. What does that look like in terms of the Foundation's involvement with the community over the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years?
Well, I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago about how they support each other in the Telegram group, but that's basically what's happening just on a larger scale. Our management has deeply invested into creating the local self-sufficient teams, which has started from the Superteam. How many people know here what Superteam is? Everybody else? Okay, Superteam. Superteam Turkey is here. Okay, great. So, yay, fantastic. All right, so for those who don't know, Superteam is basically a separate company that got a grant from Foundation at the early stages to grow the region, which was initially India, but then they expanded to many other companies. What they do is they set up a team locally that basically functions as a local Solana Foundation, and we treat it that way, helping build the infrastructure on the market for people to easily onboard onto the Solana blockchain, which includes developers, of course, as our primary focus, but also users, also artists, VCs, universities. So they sort of work with the whole company, with the whole, infrastructure of the country, but focusing only on one region, which allows them to match the mentality better, get to the hearts of people in the right way, explain it in a way that actually makes sense. So that has worked, this model has worked out so well that there are so many super teams right now in so many different regions. There are Malaysia, Turkey, Dubai, France, Germany, UK, like so many ones, which is a great way also for people to start when joining the Solana ecosystem. But now we also see, I wouldn't call it competitors because they usually are in a different regions, but they sort of replicate the model under different brands, which is an example is MetaCamp in Singapore, Kumeka in Ukraine. They all pursue the same goal, just using different instruments or sometimes similar instruments as we share the best practices is all. So just a little note on what Superteam is. And I think us relying on these parties is definitely the future, which we are already in that moment. They do, as I mentioned, they function as little foundations in the region, making Solana instruments a little bit more accessible for the local society and for the local community, just to, as far as the message in the Discord. They also offer a bunch of like earning opportunities and stuff like that. So for us, getting away from managing, decentralizing, that's for sure the vision for the next year or two. If you're speaking about 5, that's basically turning into this massive self-governant system, which I think, again, we are on the way to, and it's been working out very well. And you mentioned earlier, if Fire Dancer is going to launch, there's going to be much more, when the Fire Dancer is going to launch, it's going to be much more scalable, and a lot of new applications going to be able to come onto the chain. So I think it's going to be a much more easier mass adoption for that purpose.
Yep. So your job in the future is to put yourself out of a job.
That's exactly right. The interesting fact is that we are trying to make foundation less important instead of more important. So if something can be done better by the community or faster or more efficient, I would highly encourage you to do so and help as much as I can. So we always discuss that with my team, that we try to get rid of our jobs, that we try to be not needed on the market. Of course, foundation is going to keep the role if community cannot or doesn't want to do something, but owning more and centralizing the community, that's not the goal at all. So it's decentralization not only on the tech side, but also on the community part.
Which is awesome, because for everyone here, what she's saying is, this is a massive opportunity. Like, there's so many opportunities to grow the community, to decentralize things within Solana. Obviously, this conference is a great example.
It is. It's like a perfect example of what can be achieved.
Yeah, and that's only possible with the community. So thank you guys for being a part of this. But I guess my point, to your point, is there's so many more opportunities, and directionally, maybe Alevtina will not have a job because of you guys.
Please do.
So, okay, what projects and initiatives, I know we've talked about a lot of stuff, but what projects and initiatives are you just most excited about? Are there any anything secret you could talk about, or alpha?
Alpha, okay. So as I mentioned, Superteam, for sure, if you are from any of the countries that they are present for, or if you're not, they also have a global bounty, but check out, that's an amazing project for you to start and join. Whether you're a developer or designer, doesn't really matter. If there is no Superteam in your region, then I guess that's also an answer for you, what you can do, right? Wink, wink about that. If you are in a content stuff and you like creating videos and other content that is blockchain oriented, then Solana Collective might be an interesting point for you to explore, which is a program that started within the Solana Foundation and potentially will be exploring its way outside as its own independent entity. If you're a developer, then events like Mountain DAO that happened already for several times very successfully, producing many hackathon winners, that's definitely one to check out. And following the same module, we have an Island DAO already coming right after, actually, Crossroads in Greece. And then if you want an alpha, then there's going to be another Lake DAO in Canada, maybe later, potentially.
What is that? Can you tell us a little
It's
more?
also Mountain DAO focused,
Okay.
so developer focused, several weeks long event where you can come and build with other builders and get the support and mentorship you need. It's sort of different from the hacker houses, because hacker houses are great, don't get me wrong, but they're a little bit more chaotic. They're a little bit more about networking and meeting and presentations, where Mountain DAO type of events, similar like Island DAO and Lake DAO, they are focused on successfully building. It's sort of like a co-working, but with one goal and with a lot of support. And if you're a user or you want to become a power user, I cannot be more than happy to share their All-Stars program that Step Finance team is doing. It's in, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in 3 countries right now. There are over 50 cities activated, and I think you guys have like 20,000 users?
Yeah, over 20,000 people attending our meetups.
That's insane, okay.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, but I also like that the model is scalable. So if you want to join as a user, feel free to do so, but you can also join as an ambassador and contribute and bring this program maybe to your country and to your city, and help and contribute in a way to the local community and become that leader, become that main contributor, as we all are looking for.
Amazing. Okay, so final thing, and then we'll do a little wrap up. The final thing is, for somebody here who's attending this conference, this is their first crypto conference ever, they know about Solana, they want to get more involved, they want to do more within the ecosystem. What would you say to that person?
Joining a more focused community is definitely going to be step 1. So go check out Superteam Turkey if you're from Turkey. Go check out the All-Stars again, and see what the communities are available in your region, because they do offer a lot of bounties. So if you want to start earning, that would be the case. You're going to get feeling of belonging immediately because of how supportive everybody is. So if you want to just start the journey, just go for the closest community, and then to circle back our conversation, is just react to random messages in German groups. That can bring you a long way.
So react to random messages in groups and definitely join a tight-knit community.
For sure.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Alevtina.
Thank you, Chris,
this is
so
awesome. Yeah, last thing, guys. Alevtina came from really far to be here with you guys. I want to get a big round of applause for her coming here and for you guys coming here. Come on. Come on. Hey! Thank you so much, everybody.